Hi and welcome to another live class, class 17 of my intermediate level English course, level B1. Level B1. And in today's class we are going to be looking at conditionals. Zero conditional, first conditional and second conditional. But before we begin, let's just see who we have in the chat. We have Tania Maria. Hi Tania. We have Alex Perez. Good afternoon. Where are you from? Which countries are you from? Jorge Hannah. Hi. Viviana Cafiero from Argentina. Enrique, Marcos Estrada, Nora, Segundo Gomez from Monterrey. Well, I'm in Monterrey too, so you're very close. Giovanni, Sasha, Nicole, Marcos from Ecuador, Roberto from Mexico, Alex from Ecuador, Tania from Spain, Anya from I don't know where, Jorge from Chile, okay, I think that, and Dabi from Guatemala and Enrique from Colombia. I think that's enough, otherwise I'll spend the whole class saying hi to people. Let's begin the class today. We're going to be looking at conditionals. And I did cheat a little bit today because, let's move that down there, because I already covered this subject in level A2 and I'm more or less using the same materials that I used in that level, but today's class is in English and the other class was in Spanish. And also probably I'll add a little bit more information today. So we're going to be looking at today, as I already mentioned, hold on, let me just get the program over here. Conditionals. So we'll be looking at three conditionals. We'll be looking at the zero conditional. We'll be looking at the first conditional. And we'll be looking at the second conditional. So like I said, these conditionals we saw in the previous class, in the previous level, sorry, not in the previous class, in the previous level. That's what we'll be looking at today. So to begin the class, I have three examples written here. I'm just going to make them a bit bigger because they're very small, not too big, otherwise they cover the screen. Let's begin with the first example. Let me move this a little bit here. No, I can't move it like that. I'll have to move the page. I don't know why I can't move that. Hold on. Yeah, now I can move it. Let's move that there. Sometimes it's a bit tricky with this technology. I think you can see it. Maybe I need to make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, that's probably better. So this one is not the second conditional. Up there I've got the second conditional. Let's see if we can move that. This is the first one here. I'll move that out the way, I think. Just getting in the way. Okay, I think I've got it now. So we're going to begin with this one, which is the zero conditional. This is an example of the zero conditional, And the example is this. This is a photo of water being heated in a kettle. This thing here is used to boil water, and this is called in English a kettle. And here is the example of the zero conditional. If you heat water in a kettle, it boils. If you heat water in a kettle, it boils. So in all these conditionals, in a minute we'll see the structure more, but in all these conditionals we have two parts. First of all, we have a part, or what we call a clause. It's a clause. Let's make that smaller because it's too big. We have a clause with if, which presents the situation. We have an if clause. In this example, the if clause is here. If you heat water, this is the if clause. If you heat water. And the other side of all the conditionals is the same. We can call the result clause. The result clause. Let's make that one smaller too. I spelled result wrong now, sorry. Result. So on the other side here we have the result clause. The result of heating the water. So this is an example of the zero conditional. If you heat water in a kettle, it boils. It's also possible to say water boils if you heat it in a kettle. So it's not necessary to put the if clause first and the result clause second. We can also put them the other way around. We can change the order and we can say water boils if you heat it in a kettle. It's the same. It's synonymous. Water boils if you heat it in a kettle. If you heat water in a kettle, it boils. This is an example of the zero conditional. Let's put that up there. This is called zero conditional. In a minute we'll look more at the structure. But let's look now. Let me just check the chat for a minute. Is in the present simple in all the sentence. Yeah, that's a good observation, Tanya. And in a minute we'll have a look at the structure. But Tanya has pointed out that the verb here is in the present simple and the verb here is in the present simple, and that is how we form the zero conditional. And in a minute we'll look at where we would use the zero conditional. This is a good example of the zero conditional. Now let's look at the other two conditionals that I have on this page. So let's move this page up here. The first one I have is this one of Mo Farah. Mo Farah is the current world champion at 10,000 meters running. So this is Mo Farah. His fastest time in the 10,000 meters is 25 minutes and 45 seconds. He won the Olympic gold medal last year, but he does not hold the world record. I don't know who holds the current world record, but I don't think it's him. The current world record is 31 seconds faster. So, or maybe 30 seconds faster. If he runs 10,000 meters 31 seconds faster, he will break the world record. If Mo Farah runs 10,000 meters 31 seconds faster, he will break the world record. So the world record must be 25:14, I think. 25:14. So this is an example of what we call the first conditional. The first conditional. If you look, in a minute we'll look at the more differences, but this one is called the first conditional. Now, earlier on, Tanya pointed out that here in the zero conditional, the verb tenses were present simple and present simple. And here in this conditional, we still have the same two parts. Here we have the if clause, so that basically is the same as we saw before. That's an if clause. That's like the imaginary situation. And down here too, we have, as we saw earlier, a result clause. Here we have a result clause. This here, from here to here is the result clause. Oh, I got there the wrong one, sorry. Where's my, oh, here I put if clause. This should have been the result clause, sorry. Yeah, I think I changed it just now when let's try and copy that and move it down there. So it's the same as the one before. We have here, as we saw earlier, in this zero conditional, if you heat water, this is the if clause, it's the situation, the imaginary situation. In a kettle, sorry, and this part here, it boils. Actually, I made a mistake. Yeah, this part here, sorry, this part here is the result. This is the if clause and this is the result. If you heat water in a kettle, sorry, I've got this wrong. Actually, that there, sorry, that in the kettle is part of the if clause, sorry, and I made a mistake here. Let me just move that line. Let me delete that a minute. This is only this end part here is the result clause, sorry. This bit here goes in this part. So if you heat water in a kettle, it boils. We have the imaginary situation and we have the result here. And it's the same one here. The same here, we have an if clause. If he runs 10,000 meters 31 seconds faster, that's the imaginary situation, he will break the world record. But so in both of these we have an if clause. If you heat water in a kettle, if he runs 10,000 meters 31 seconds faster, and we have a result. It boils, he will break the world record. But you will notice that in this one, which is the zero conditional, here the verb is in the present, and here the verb is in the present. But here we have the verb in the present the same, but here we are using the future simple. Will break. Good. So this one is called the first conditional. Now let's have a look at the other example that I have on this page here. I need to move this a little bit. Can move that up there. Now, this is me. I also like to run, but I am not as fast as Mo Farah. In fact, I'm like 15 or 16 minutes slower than Mo Farah. So my fastest 10k is 41 minutes 30. If, here we have another conditional, this one is called the second conditional. If I ran 10k 15 minutes faster, I would break the world record. So this is very similar to what we saw before, but here in this one, which is the first conditional, I am talking about Mo Farah. Mo Farah's time current time is 25 minutes 46 seconds. So I say, if he runs 10,000 meters 31 seconds faster, he will break the world record. And now I'm applying the same hypothetical situation, imaginary situation, to myself. And I'm saying, if I run 10k 15 minutes faster, which is a long time, I would break the world record. So can anybody tell me, just looking at this, first of all, what is different about this one and what is different about this one? I mean, obviously the first difference is that this one is about Mo Farah and this one is about me. But what is the difference in the verbs? What's the difference in the verbs? Viviana says past. Yeah, very good. If you notice here, the verb here with Mo Farah, as somebody already noted, is in the present simple tense. Runs, present simple. And the verb here about me, talking about me, is in the past. Past simple. Mo Farah's sentence is in the present simple. And my sentence is in the past simple. But one thing I want to say is that both of these apply, this sentence here and this sentence here apply to now or the future. This verb is in the past, but I am not talking about the past. I am talking about an imaginary situation now or in the future. In English, in this type of sentence, I need to use the past form of the verb. I am not talking about the past. Hold on 1 second. So, can anybody in the chat tell me why here, when I'm talking about myself, I need to use the past? Why is it wrong for me to say, if I write it like I did with Mo Farah, I would put this. If I run 10k 15 minutes faster, using the same tenses that I used before, I will break the world record. Now this sentence here, this one here, if he runs 10,000 meters 31 seconds faster, he will break the world record, is 100% correct. But this one here is incorrect. Why? Why? Can anybody tell me? The other difference before we continue is that here it says also will break, and here in this one I put would break. So here in this one, if I run 10k in 15 minutes faster, I will break the world record, is wrong. Why is this one wrong? Can anybody tell me why this one is incorrect? Anybody? There's a lot of Spanish in the chat today. A lot of Spanish. Can anybody tell me the answer to this question? Melissa says she doesn't know why, but she understands. Would is a possibility. Can anybody tell me why? Why is this wrong? I'm using the same grammatical structure, but here I can say it and here I can't. Well, nobody has given me the answer, so I'm going to have to tell you the answer. The answer is this, that This is a conditional here. It's talking about now or the future. And this one here, the second conditional, is a real conditional. A real conditional. What's happened to I've lost my, for some reason I can't, it's a real conditional, not a reek conditional, a real conditional. This one about Mo Farah here is a real conditional. What do I mean is a real conditional? I mean it's a real possibility. It's a real possibility. Mo Farah already ran the 10,000 meters in 25 minutes 46. So there is a real possibility that he could run it 31 seconds faster, in which case he will break the world record. This is a real conditional, it's a real possibility. But this one here is completely and utterly imaginary. It's imaginary. It's an imaginary situation, or let's just put it's an unreal situation, to keep it like the other one. It's an unreal conditional. It's impossible. Well, I guess it's not impossible, but it's extremely unlikely that I can run 10 kilometers in 25:30 and be world champion. This is completely hypothetical. So in English, when we want to talk about completely hypothetical situations like this one, we need to put the verb in the past. We are not talking about the past. We are talking about now or the future. We're talking about a hypothetical situation now or in the future. But we need to put the verb in the past. By using if plus the past, we show that this situation is imaginary. And in the result of this imaginary situation, we need to use would. So here we have a real situation, a real possibility. It's not happened, but it's a real possibility. If he runs 10,000 meters faster, he will break the world record. Present, future. If I ran 10k 15 minutes faster, I would break the world record. Past, would plus break. So this is real, unreal. So let's go to the next page. And here I have the structure of these conditionals written down. Plus I have, we also have the rules. Where do we use these conditionals? So first of all, these are the three conditionals that we saw. First of all, we saw the zero conditional. Let's move that because it's too big now. The zero conditional. So to form the zero conditional, we need to use, first of all, as I mentioned earlier, all of these conditionals have, all of them have two parts. Oh, I've just realized that this is in Spanish, which is very bad. This should be in English. It should say if plus condition, and this should be result. And this tipo also is in Spanish, but it doesn't matter. If plus the condition. So in the zero condition, or type 0 conditional, we use if, and the verb is in the present simple. And in the result, we also use the present simple. So we say, if you heat water, it boils. So the zero conditional, which is a real conditional, this is a fact actually. If you heat water to 100 degrees centigrade at sea level, it boils. Boils means it turns to steam. The zero conditional is used for general truths such as scientific facts. In these sentences, the time is now or always, and the situation is real. This is a real situation. It always happens. If you heat water to 100 degrees centigrade at sea level, it always boils. It's a scientific fact. So, zero conditional, present, present. Next, we have the first conditional. We saw earlier the example with Mo Farah. If he runs 10,000 meters 31 seconds faster, he will break the world record. It's a real possibility. The first conditional is used for real or possible situations now or in the future. Present simple in this side, will plus base verb on this side. Present simple, future simple. Present simple in the if, future simple in the result. And then finally we have the third type of conditional. If I ran 10k 15 minutes faster, I would break the world record. So this time we are using the past form of the verb in the if part, and we're using the modal verb would in the result. So this type of conditional, the second conditional, is used for unreal, imaginary or hypothetical situations now or in the future. No, the verb in the if clause is in the past, but we are not talking about the past. The last one is an unreal. This one and this one are real conditionals. This is something that always happens. This is something that is possible. And this is something which is completely imaginary. And so it's an unreal conditional. Now remember what I told you at the beginning of the class. I told you you can reverse the order of these. If you want, instead of saying if you heat water it boils, you can say water boils if you heat it. You don't have to put this bit first and this bit second. You can put the result first and the if second. And the other examples, Mo Farah will break the world record if he runs 10,000 meters 31 seconds faster. This time this bit is first and this bit is second. And the last example, I'd break the world record if I ran 10k 15 minutes faster. It doesn't matter. If I ran 10k 15 minutes faster, I would break the world record. I'd break the world record if I ran 10k 15 minutes faster. It's the same. Let's have a look in the chat. What is going on in the chat? Everybody is speaking Spanish. What happened? What happened with the English? Yeah, Melissa says, please cancel the participation of these persons which are writing in Spanish. This is supposed to be an English class. Remember, there is a reason that this class is in English. First of all, because it's level B1 intermediate, and well, that is the main reason. The thing is, I know if I do the class in Spanish, then the people who come to the class are not going to be this level. They are going to be beginners and they won't understand anything. So that's the reason that I'm doing these classes in Spanish, because I only want people to come to this class who have, or watch this video, people who have finished A1 and finished A2. Both of those levels are available on my YouTube channel. So yeah, if this is your first class, Miguel, you should start at the beginning. This class is for people who have completed A1 and A2, and that's why it's in English, to avoid or deter is the word, deter people who are not this level coming. So please don't speak Spanish anymore in the chat. So let's continue then. Yeah, our first rule is only English. If you don't understand, please go back and do level A1 and level A2. Unfortunately, I also broke my own rule because here I put this in Spanish because I used it in a previous class actually. So let's continue. These are the rules. I think I've got some more examples. Yeah, Tanya says, my level is down. I don't sometimes understand all you say. Well, you need to complete level A1 and level A2. You need to get to this level. These subjects in this course are more advanced. This subject here is not something that you want to learn when you're a beginner. We say in English, you can't run until you can walk, which means you shouldn't be doing this if you don't know the basics. You'll just make yourself frustrated and you'll give up with English. You set your goal too high. You need to start at the beginning and take it in easy steps. If you start at intermediate, you're not going to understand anything, and then you're going to say, oh, English is very difficult, I give up. And I don't want you to do that. So you need to start at your level. If your level is beginner, don't go to an intermediate level course. If your level is advanced, don't go to a beginner class because you're just going to get bored. So make sure, and there are places, right now I don't have on my City or Weber test, but there are other places on the internet. Just go in Google. I think I saw one the other day on Oxford University. Just Google it. You can put it in Spanish if you're a Spanish speaker. Many tests, prueba to nivel de inglés, and there are many tests. Let's see if we can find this one here. Look, Cambridge University. That will tell you what level you're in, whether you're in the A1 level, the A2 level, the B1 level, the B2. These are the levels, C1 or C2. You can just go here, take the test, and whatever system that you use, if it's my course on YouTube or go to a school, this test will only give you an idea, but you know it's good enough to give you an idea of your current level. And whatever course you take, it doesn't matter if it's with me or with somebody else, then really you need to take it at your level, because otherwise, like I said, if it's too easy, you're going to get bored, and if it's too difficult, you're going to get frustrated and you're going to give up. So please don't speak Spanish. What's next? More examples. More examples. Let me move this back over here. We've got some examples of these here, so let's have a look at some more examples of zero conditionals. Zero conditionals. Can start with these ones. Zeros. And here are the examples. They're facts. Remember, the zero conditional is with the present tense and the present tense, and it's used for facts or scientific facts. If people eat too much, they get fat. Zero conditional. If people eat too much, they get fat. If you touch a fire, you get burned. If you touch a fire, you get burned. People die if they don't eat. People die if they don't eat. If babies are hungry, they cry. If babies are hungry, they cry. All of these are examples of the zero conditional. They're things that are always true. If this happens, this happens. Well, maybe this one isn't always true. It depends on the person, I suppose. But the verb here is in the present present. Eat, get. Touch, get. Die, don't eat. Negative present. Are, present. Cry, present. Present, 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 present. Zero conditional. Everything in the present simple. And don't forget that you can say them the other way round. People get fat if they eat too much. You get burned if you touch fire. If they don't eat, people die. And babies cry if they are hungry. You can say them both ways round. Still a lot of Spanish in the chat. A lot of Spanish in the chat. Let's look at the next example of the first conditional. Now remember, this conditional is for things, possible situations now or in the future, real possibilities now or in the future. Real possibilities now or in the future. If I have time, I'll help you. It's a real possibility, and if it happens that I have time, I will help you. Remember, the structure here is present simple in the if part and will plus verb in the result. If you learn English, you'll get a better job. Again, present simple, future simple. And as I already mentioned, I'll help you if I have time. You can put it the other way round. You'll get a better job if you learn English. Notice my pronunciation here. You'll get a better job if you learn English. You'll get a better, getter. You'll get a better job if you learn English. If you lend me some money, I'll pay you back tomorrow. This is like a promise. If you lend me some money, I'll pay you back tomorrow, I promise. Again, present simple, will plus base verb, future simple. I'll pay you back tomorrow if you lend me some money. I'll pay you back tomorrow if you lend me some money, or if you lend me some money, I'll pay you back tomorrow. If you don't hurry, you'll be late. If you don't hurry, you'll be late. Or you'll be late if you don't hurry. You'll be late if you don't hurry. Are you going to stay at home if it rains tomorrow? Are you going to stay at home if it rains tomorrow? Now this one is a little bit different, and something that I didn't mention before, that I'll mention now, is that up until now in these we've seen that everything is with the future. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Hold on. It's future, future simple, future simple, future simple, but here I'm using the going to structure, and that's okay because the going to structure is also used for the future. So in this part, in the result, you can actually use any future tense, or you can use, maybe you can't use the future continuous. I'm not sure about that actually. I'd have to think about that. If it rains tomorrow, are you going to stay at home? But we can use the going to structure. We can use the present simple. We need to use the present simple in the if part, and in the other part we can use will or going to. Okay, another example. If you don't study, you won't learn English. If you don't study, this time we've got a negative here. We've got a negative here too. So this is present simple negative and this is future negative. So in actual fact, yeah, you could have a negative here and a positive here, or you could have a positive here and a negative here. All examples of the first conditional, real conditionals. Finally, we have the second conditional. Remember, the second conditional is unreal. So when we're talking about imaginary, 100% imaginary situations, we need to use the past form of the verb here. And additionally, in the first one, which says, if I were you, I'd learn to speak English. So remember this here. What is this? What's this? Can anybody remember what's this D here? What's this D? Apostrophe D. What is it? Who can tell me? Who can tell me what this is? Who can tell me what this D is? Would. Very good, Melissa. Yeah. This is the contraction of would. That's the contraction of would. And something else that I should mention about this one is that basically here I am using were. So first of all, we already saw that in these type of conditionals we need to use the past form of the verb. But if you remember from when we studied the past simple, we saw that it's I was, you were. But in these conditionals, it's better to say, to use were with I. This is the more formal way of saying it. Although some native speakers would say, if I was you. I'm not sure that it's officially it's not correct, but a lot of native speakers say it, if I was you. But it sounds better to use were. We don't normally use was in these conditionals. We use were. If I were you, I'd learn to speak English. The next example is, if I won the lottery, I'd buy a new house. If I won the lottery, I'd buy a new house. So again, here we are using the past form of the verb, the past of win. The past of win is won, win won. We're using the past of the, let's make that smaller, win won. And here again we're using would, the contraction of would. If I won the lottery, I'd buy a new house. Obviously, it's a completely imaginary situation. I can put preposition before of you, for example, with. I don't understand that question, Tanya. I'm not sure what you're asking me there. Next example, if you studied more, you'd learn English. Well, maybe this one should be in the first conditional, and maybe I should say with that that you will learn more. I think that's probably better it depends on you really. If you're a person who is really going to study, and if I believe that you are really going to study, and there's a real possibility that you will study, I would say, if you study more, I put it in the first conditional. If you study more, you'll learn English. But here, this is for a person who probably isn't going to study. If you studied more, you'd learn English. This is imaginary and this is real. If I had his number, I'd call him. Or I'd call him if I had his number. Again, this part here is in the past and this is with would. What would you do if you spoke perfect English? It's an imaginary situation. Maybe it's not an imaginary situation if you keep studying. But right now it's an imaginary situation. And it's a question too. What would you do if you spoke perfect English? It's a way of asking people about imaginary situations. Good. So let's carry on and see. There are a lot of people speaking Spanish here today. There's more people speaking Spanish than English. So here I've got some questions. Let's see if anybody understands what I've been talking about for the last 45 minutes. So, no more Spanish in the chat. And Tanya already has the correct answer, which is rains. Rains. Very good. Yeah, this one, we want it in the... Can you see that text okay? I think it's okay. Maybe I could make it a bit bigger. For people who are on their cell phone, because sometimes on the cell phone it's very small. Yeah, I'll be surprised if it rains tomorrow. Yeah, this one, very good, Tanya. This one is in the it's in the first conditional. We know that it's in the first conditional because here we have will. And remember, we can say it the other way around. If it rains tomorrow, I'll be very surprised. This means that it's probably not going to rain tomorrow. Number 2. Lydiette, Melissa, Graciela, Lewis, Tanya put was. Well, it's possible to put was. Some native speakers say was. But remember, in these conditionals, it's better to use were. It's better to use were. It's better to use were. If I were in your shoes, I'd get a new job. And this is like this is a common expression in English, a way of using conditionals to give people advice. If I were in your shoes, I'd get a new job. If I were in your shoes, I'd study more English. Number 4, you'd get a better job if you'd get a better job. Viviana spoke, Lewis spoke, Melissa spoke. Yeah, it's really nice to see that some people actually understood today. A lot of people getting correct answers. That's very good. You'd get a better job if you spoke better English. Yeah, it's an imaginary situation. So, next one. Let's move. I think I've got to move this. Oh, I think you can still see it. Yeah. If number 5, who's got the answer to number 5? Study. No. Yeah. Viviana, very good, Viviana. I'd study, and also Melissa, I would study. No, will, no. Graciela is correct. Melissa is correct. Viviana is correct. The answer is would study, or I would just put I'd study. I'd study. I'd study more if I had more time. I'd study more if I had more time. Let's move my video up there. And do number 7. If I didn't need money, not work. If I didn't need money, I not work on Saturdays. Melissa says wouldn't work, which is 100% correct. Very good. I wouldn't, using the contraction too, wouldn't work. Wouldn't work. I wouldn't work on Saturdays if I didn't need money. Have I got any more questions? I don't remember. Let me, yeah, I've got 2 more, so I'll have to move this thing up out the way if I can. Can't move it. That's it. But now my other ones have gone. Hold on. Let's get rid of these. Number 9 and number 10. Let me, I need to get rid of these things here because now they're in the way. So let's have a look at number 9 and number 10. Number 9 and number 10. And let's get rid of that there. Number 9, if she so nasty, she'd have more friends. If she so nasty, she'd have more friends. Who can give me the answer to? Oh, I think, sorry, I missed number 8. Oh, well, we'll do Tanya. If she were, yeah, here you could say wasn't or weren't. I think it's quite common for people to say, if she weren't so nasty. As I said before, usually a lot of native speakers use was in these. So I guess it's okay. Both are correct, but weren't is like more formal really. I think it sounds a little bit better to say the first one. But a lot of native speakers now use the second form. If she weren't so nasty, she'd have more friends. But you will hear native speakers say, if she wasn't so nasty, she'd have more friends. And really, native speakers cannot be wrong because the language is the way it's spoken. So it's okay to say if she wasn't. Yeah, Tanya says I never saw were with she. Well, I think, yeah, she weren't. The more formal, correct way is not to use was at all in these. But I think it's more common for people to say she wasn't so nasty, if she wasn't so nasty. It's more common, it seems to me, just thinking about it, for native speakers to use wasn't when the subject is she, and less common when the subject is I. This one here actually is wrong because I moved this, so let's get rid of that so people don't get confused. But I think it sounds better to say if she weren't. If she weren't so nasty, she'd have more friends. Number 8. I missed number 8, so let's go back and do number 8. Number 8 is a question. Number 8 is a question. Hi, Monica. Who's got the answer to number 8? Number 8. Will you retire if you won? No. Because this, look, Tanya, this one is in the past. This is in the past. Viviana has put would. Yeah, would goes here. That's correct. Would. Would you, what form of the verb do I need here? Will retire. No, would is true. It's true. What's the verb that goes here? Very easy. Retired. No. Retire. Yeah, we just want the base form of the verb. Retire. Would you retire if you won the lottery? Would you retire if you won the lottery? This is a question, so we need to put modal verb before the subject. Modal, subject, main verb. And finally, number 10. If you are late again, you are lose, no. Would lose, no. This is in the present, this side. Will lose, Melissa. Very good, Melissa. Will lose. You will lose your job. You will lose your job. So just repeat these last three. I lost the other ones. Would you retire if you won the lottery? Would you retire if you won the lottery? If she weren't so nasty, she'd have more friends. If she wasn't so nasty, she'd have more friends. If you are late, here I would actually use the contraction. If you're late again, you'll lose your job. Yeah, I would, when I speak here, here I would put, if you're, I would replace that with your for me, and here I would put you'll. So the way I would say that would be, if you're late again, you'll lose your job. And actually